covering my favorite synthetic brushes. These are cruelty-free in every way, and I just wanted to kind of go over some of my favorites with you. I know it can be a little bit difficult to find good quality synthetic brushes that work really well and do their job that they're supposed to, and yeah, just to find synthetic brushes, all synthetic brushes, is kind of difficult in itself. Even cheap brushes can be real animal hair. It might not be the best quality, but they still can be. So these are some brushes that I've came across that I really personally love, and maybe it'll help some of you out. So the first brushes I'm going to cover are the Too Faced Teddy Bear Hair Collection brushes. The only bad thing about these is you cannot get them separately. You have to buy them as a set, and the set, I believe, is about somewhere between $60 and $65, and you get 6 brushes. So I have 5 brushes here. There are actually 6 in the collection. There is a blending brush, but my dog attacked it, so it is in brush heaven. So these are the 5 that I have left, and all of these are great. Of course, there's some that I use more than others. I really wish they sold these separately, because then for the price they would only come to about, I don't know, like $12, $13 each, which really isn't bad when you separate it. But one of my favorites is the flat shader. The handles are black with the Too Faced logo in like a pink metal type thing, and the ferrule is a chromy pink. So there's the flat shader. It's just your basic flat shader. The synthetic hairs feel really great. It's not too flimsy. They put on color really well. It's just one of my favorite eye brushes. Another one of my favorite from the set is the angled blush / contour brush. The hairs on this are so soft, but not overly soft. They are so soft they feel great on the face. I have had this brush for probably nearly 2 years now. You can see like all of the fading on the handle, but I just love this brush. And excuse me, it's a little bit dirty, but it's just great. It's perfect for blush. I find it fits just like perfectly right here. It's not too big, it's not too small, and for contouring it's nice and angled, so you get that nice kind of lay on the hollow of the cheek. Really nice brush. Another one of my favorite face brushes. I don't know what I would do without these two. The other one that I like is this big fat brush. I'm not sure what this was supposed to be used for. They're not labeled on the handle as to what their purpose is made for, but I use this for highlights under the brow. It has a nice angle to it, which fits nicely onto the skin, and I can still hold it comfortably like this. I don't have to hold it straight like this. I don't know, it's just more comfortable for me to hold brushes kind of angled. So it works really great under there. Other than that, I don't use this for much. I have tried using it for concealer, like underneath or in the corners of the nose, and it works okay for that. Not a lot of use that I found out of this one, but it is still a really good brush. These two I don't use very often. This one, the hairs are really long, and they kind of jiggle. So for me, it's not really what I'm looking for in a face brush. I think that, you know, it's not very dense and it just kind of wiggles around. Not my favorite brush from the kit, my least favorite probably, but still not a bad brush. And then there's the angled brush, which is another great one. It's really good for eyeliner, especially if you're not comfortable with a pointed eyeliner brush like this or something like that, like a little smudger. Some people like the brushes more stiff. I find that I like them a little bit weaker when I put on my brows because I get less product on my brows, and I don't like harsh brows. I like them to look as natural as possible. So I used this brush today to put on my brows, and I just found it placed a lot of color, which isn't bad in most cases, but on my brows I generally don't want that. But it is really great, I find, for eyeliner. But if you do like a very precise line and filling in your brows, this would be really good. Then of course we have the Eco Tools brushes. These are not my favorite. The Kabuki, the retractable Kabuki, I love. So I'll go over this since this is technically a favorites video. It's supposed to be anyway. It's dirty, but I love this brush. It's very compact. It's very dense. Not a huge amount of give, but the brush is so soft. It works really good for buffing in powder. You could probably use this for foundation too, but I choose not to. But I find for buffing in powder it works really good. Even for just placing powder and patting powder onto the face, it works fantastically because there's not a whole lot of give in the brush. It's just the hairs are really, really full, and for a synthetic brush at the drugstore, this is amazing. So love this, and it's travel friendly, which is fantastic. The foundation brush I don't love so much, so I'm not really going to talk about it. And then I couldn't go through this video without talking about my e.l.f. Studio line brushes. And I have a ton, well, 12 to be exact. Last Christmas, or not 2010 Christmas, 2009 Christmas, I bought the 12-piece e.l.f. Studio brush kit. And I have to say, out of all of my brushes that I own, most of the ones that I reach for are from the Studio line. They have a good variety of face and eye in the kit. Most of them are brushes that I actually use, and I'm dropping that. And I can't say anything bad about them. I've watched some reviews on them where people say that, you know, they were sent to them with the ferro loose, which is the metal part that attaches to the wooden piece. None of mine were like that. I've had these for a year, and none of them have even gotten remotely loose. Very, very minimal shedding in the face brushes. I haven't had any problems. They're just really great brushes, and they're inexpensive. I think I got the kit for $29 or something like that, and if you wait until they're having like a 20% off sale or something, which e.l.f. often does, then you can get these for a really, really good deal. So I'm going to quickly go over these. I'm kind of running out of time. So these are the eye brushes, and you get 5. This one, the concealer brush, I use for eyes. I think it is far too small to be a concealer brush. This I consider an eye brush. I use for eyes. So I'm going to include it in this. So technically I'm going to say 6. You get 6 eye brushes. Okay, so you get the concealer brush that I use for eyeshadow. You can see the difference between the Too Faced and this one. There's a comparison between those two. You can see the bristles on this black e.l.f. brush. They're a lot shorter, and it's also wider, but they both work fantastically. This has a very short handle compared to this one that has a very long handle. Just an FYI for the Too Faced brushes, they're all short-handled except for the cheek brush. Okay, but I love this brush, and I don't know what I would do without this one. My angled brush, this is the brush that I use for my eyebrows. It's perfect. It's not overly angled. It's just angled enough to where I can get good control. It's really soft and movable. which I like for my brushes because it doesn't pack on the color as densely, which I like for my eyebrows, like I said. So this is fantastic. The eyeshadow C brush I also mentioned in my 2010 favorites video. It's a bit fluffy. So putting on color onto the lid, not the best for really getting a good pack of color on there. But it's fantastic for highlighting, even highlighting down here. But it's fantastic for putting on your highlight shade, and also because it's kind of fluffy and blendy, has like a little, it has some movement to it, so it actually works really good for blending color too. Then I have the smudger brush, which is super small. It's tiny, tiny little bit up here. Really, really good for applying eyeliner and smudging out like the eyeliner line. I use this constantly. Love. This one is a bit bigger. It is called the small precision brush. This is good for, this I love for applying the line down at the bottom and kind of smudging it out if I choose not to use this one. And it's also really good for applying in the waterline. And then the face brushes I love. You have the flat top powder. This is technically a powder brush. For liquid foundation it works really good too. The hairs are really tightly compact in there. It doesn't have much give. It's really, really nice. This one I love. This is the blush brush, and that's exactly what I use it for. I use it for blush. It fits perfectly on the cheek. It's not too big. It's perfect. You can also flatten it down a little bit, and it works great as a contour brush. Love this as well. The foundation brush is your basic flat foundation. This one I find is much better than the Eco Tools. This one doesn't streak, and it also has less give to it. This one, the hairs are really flimsy and just kind of flop places. This one's a bit stiffer, so you don't get so much give when you're applying, and you can do it much more like a paintbrush, and it just paints on your foundation really nicely. So this one, love. The fan brush, I don't use very much. I've never been like a huge fan of fan brushes. I know some people use them for a lot of different things. I think the only thing I've ever really used this for is to either brush away fallout, or also to apply blush very, very lightly if it's a very pigmented blush. And then there's the complexion brush, which is the big powder brush. This is fantastic. I use this brush every day. It's really, really good for putting on powder. I love the way that it kind of like fans out on my face. It's not as dense as like the Eco Tools Kabuki, which I love them both. This one has a very different feel to it. The hairs are really kind of loose and just really soft. But it works really good for patting on my powder when I don't want a thick layer, when I just kind of want to lightly set my powder over my face. It works really good just to dust everything over. They definitely get the angled face and the flat shader. These two are absolutely my favorites. This tiny smudge brush, I use this almost daily. The face brush, this powder brush, I just love. Again, I use this daily. Not almost daily, but daily. The flat brush, I love. I use this almost daily too, even if I'm using this, because then I can rotate my colors between the two. And the blush brush, I just love. This one's really good too, but for my foundation lately, I've been using my fingers. I haven't been using a brush for my foundation lately, but when I did use liquid foundation before and I used a brush, this one was my go-to. So hopefully that helps you guys. They're very accessible brushes and really not outrageously priced. I'll put links below to where you can get these brushes. The Eco Tools you can find online, but you can also find them in your local Walgreens, Rite Aid, and whatnot. So yeah, so if you have any questions, go ahead and comment below. Again, I hope this helps some of you guys. Again, these are all cruelty-free synthetic hair brushes that work really, really flawlessly, that I find are my absolute favorites. So have a great day, and I will see you guys in my next video. Love you guys. Bye.